Hey everybody, what's up? Today we're taking a look at the Maru Alsu's newest competitor, the Yuxin Blue 4x4. The Yuxin 4x4 is 60mm, so slightly smaller than your average 4x4 like the Alsu. Same size as your mini 4x4 size is the Cyclone Boys G4. Stock shades are Maru shades that we've seen Yuxin been using recently, not the old slippery ones that were on the other Yuxin 4x4s. The price is a below average $16, which is significantly less than the Alsu. The turning of the Yuxin right out of the box is a really sandy and smooth feeling. The layers stick together very well so that when you turn the innermost, it almost feels like a 2x2. Part of the reason for this is that the outer layers are kind of stiff. They tend to drag the other layer with them, and the same goes if you just turn the inner layer, the outer is going to come with it. This can also be a downside though. The turning is definitely stiffer than the Alsu. What I have in this cube right now is just straight up Maru lube. I had a little bit of Traxxas 50K in there to try to get the lube to stick a little bit, but I ended up not liking it and I cleaned out the whole thing just because it was too slow. So I would definitely recommend a really lightweight lube for this cube. Overshooting is not going to be your problem. It's a little bit of that stiffness that might get in your way. The feeling overall is really nice though. It's a very stable feeling cube. The layers stick together nicely. The pieces don't wobble around. Springs feel kind of tight. It feels nice in your hand. I like the size. At first, I only noticed a difference in my ability to be smooth in my 3x3 stage, and later I actually realized the reason was these outer layers are larger. You can't really tell just by looking at it. But I took a look at the box right here, and I don't know if you can read that very well, but you can see it says that the outer layers are a full millimeter wider than the inners. Corner cutting is pretty good on this cube, although I do have my tensions quite loose to help with that speed problem. So on the outside layers it cuts like up to right about there, maybe a little farther. And then like this, I don't know what you call that, but it cuts like right there. Yeah, not right there, just right there. And the inside layers are not quite as good maybe. They tend to kind of have a little bit of, like they feel like they're locking up a little bit as you try to cut. They cut fine though, I mean, you don't really use that kind of turn very much anyway, so not a big deal. Reverse cutting is also much nicer than average, cuts right about there with very little effort. I think the biggest advantage this cube has over the Alsu is just how well the 3x3 stage flows. Between the smaller size, the larger outside layers, and the pretty good reverse cutting, and then the slightly slower, more controlled speed on these outer layers, my 3x3 stage turning speed feels really fast. So let's move on to what I think is probably this cube's biggest flaw, and that is pops. Part of the reason this cube pops so much is because I have it on loose tensions, and I'm not going to deny that, but I would say that the slow turning of the cube makes these loose tensions pretty necessary. And I mean, they're not crazy loose. My Alsu doesn't pop much at all, and this is what it looks like when I pull it apart. These inner edge or center pieces, the small ones, they just pop out all the time. Sometimes they take some pieces with them, and it can be pretty explosive too. I've not had any like big pops, but sometimes you'll eject center pieces. So popping is definitely an issue on this cube. Probably 1 in 10 solves you'll get a pop. You can continue without one of the small center pieces, but it feels kind of unstable and it scares me, so usually I stop and fix it. So after a ton of solves, several new PBs, and even an official round of using this cube, I'm still not sure if it's going to be my main over my Alsu. The slowness and the popping really just get to me, even though I really like the feeling and how it flows during 3x3 stage. I just can't decide. But I will say that at a really great price point, this cube is definitely worth checking out if you saw 4x4 at all, even just casually. It's worth having because I think it will be a lot of people's mains. It's not just an average cube, it's well above average. Definitely a competitor for my main. Yeah, I guess we'll see at Nationals if I end up using it. So here are just some solves with it, and I'll see you later.